been a magical day in the city of Chicago. Rockies will be here over the next 3 days. A couple of night games, a Wednesday afternoon game at the friendly confines. Inside Wrigley Field tonight, the Rockies and Cubs get together for the second time this year. Chicago took 2 of 3 at Coors Field earlier in the season. The Cubs were just swept over the weekend by the Fightin' Phils. The Fightin' Phils have the worst record in baseball, but they took care of the Cubs over 3 ball games, highlighted, of course, by Cole Hamels' no-no on Saturday. Charlie Blackmon has been outstanding this year, .330 batting average since June the 1st, and he's been on base better than 36% of the time. The 58 runs scored is 5th best in the National League. Let's take a look at the Southwest batting order tonight for Walt Weiss. DJ LeMahieu, the former Cub, will bat second. Then Tulowitzki back in the lineup. He had yesterday off. Cargo's got the average to .270. Nolan Arenado next. Corey Dickerson back in there. Ben Paulson, 4 hits, 12 total bases yesterday. Michael McHenry, didn't see Mac back in action. The knee's feeling better. Jorge De La Rosa will be on the mound. And for the Chicago Cubs, it is Kyle Hendricks. Got a very good arm.
And he's not going to walk many guys, just 20 walks on the season, so he'll make you get after it.
Great bunt attempt by Blackmon to lead off the game, but Chris Bryant lets it roll foul.
Just a little bit more on Hendricks, coming off a start against Cincinnati where he took the loss, but he did have 9 strikeouts, which is a career high for him, but gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs during that affair. He's going to be a fastball, changeup, cut, curveball pitcher.
Basically like every other guy it seems like in baseball right now.
His changeup's good, but his changeup at times, the way he cuts it, will actually look like a cutter. You have to look at the velocity on it, though, at about 80 miles an hour. That'll tell you it was a changeup and not a cut fastball.
So ready to go again. 1 strike count on Charlie. 77 degrees. Very pleasant night here in Chicago. And that fastball's outside. I'll tell you, the home plate umpire is Mark Carlson this evening. Gabe Morales is at first, Trip Gibson at second. The crew chief, Brian Gorman's over at third. And Brian in on the grass on the 1-1 pitch again. Now he'll back off as it's a ball and 2 strikes. There is the big kid that is getting a lot of attention nationally, and deservedly so. He is a big, strong home run hitter. His jersey sales are top 2 in baseball. He's low 2-2.
Well, he had the hype in spring training. A lot of people saying, well, he should have made the ball club. Didn't. Playing for the Cubs. I mean, that's the other thing. But also a high draft pick. 2nd overall.
Right in front of John Gray. Rockies took John Gray right after the Cubs took Chris Bryant.
And here we go again. Charlie already a 5-pitch at bat.
That is pulled just foul. And it gets the Rockies bullpen moving.
Make it 6 pitches. And Charlie, this is the key area for him. What he has improved on, not only from last year to this year, but from the first half to the second half. His first 45 games to what he's done now, seeing more pitches per plate appearance.
This time it's Hendricks who wins the battle. Hendricks with the strikeout, and there's 1 gone. That'll bring up DJ LeMahieu. Kristen Orphy is in left field for the Cubs. The former San Diego Padre, our old friend Dexter Fowler's in center. Jorge Soler is in right. Bryant and Starlin Castro on the left side. Young Addison Russell, he's 22, is at second base. Anthony Rizzo's at first. Kyle Schwarber is behind the plate. That's inside. Cubs have played good defense over the last month or so.
One of the top 3 in the last 25-30 games. Overall, they're 12th in the National League.
2-0 on DJ, riding a 16-game hitting streak. Longest going in baseball right now. DJ 7 for 12 in that series at home against the Cubs, his former club. Takes a strike. Last year he really pressed against Chicago, and chatting with him a little bit earlier, and he said exactly that. But any great competitor, and DJ is a fiery competitor, quiet, but he really wants to get after the Cubs. Trust me.
And why not? Because he was a second-round pick of the Cubs, but they thought Darwin Barney was going to be the guy, so they said, okay, we'll let you go because we've got this other guy. And Darwin had a nice career. It's not over yet, but he win a Gold Glove, but he didn't have near the offense that DJ has.
DJ now has a Gold Glove. DJ's now the 300 hitter. And Theo Epstein admitted not all that long ago, it was one of the first moves he made when he took over with the Cubs. And he said, you know what, you're going to make some bad moves. And that turned out to be a real bad move. Because remember, the Rockies got Tyler Colvin, and Tyler had a very productive first year with the Rockies. Casey Weathers, one of the two guys the Rockies sent to the Cubs, unfortunately for Casey, his career never panned out. And in the case of Ian Stewart, Ian, in fairness, never reached the great promise that he had. That's ball 4. There's Theo Epstein. Great work as a young man with the Boston Red Sox. He's still very young, and he feels, rightfully so, that he has the Cubs headed in the right direction.
They're looking towards 2016, 2017. Some of this year has been kind of accelerated as far as what they might do here in the next 3 or 4 days. Because they were taking all these young guys that they had, and they said, well, we're going to let them develop. But now they're out 11.5 games, but just 2.5 in the wild card.
And Joe Madden, your old friend, you played for Joe. He felt like we've hit a collective spell where guys aren't hitting. He goes, no, I believe our guys will hit. Brian hasn't hit this month. Rizzo hasn't hit this month. Tulo takes down low, and it's 2-0. Troy, since the 41 game streak ended of reaching, is 0 for 15. There's a good look at Joe Madden.
He's pretty much won wherever he's been. Just the Angels took over for Joe Madden, or excuse me, for Terry Collins after Terry was fired. Then what he did with Tampa, real impressive.
Well, you and I both spent some time with Joe around batting practice, and this is a really good fit for him. Not that Tampa wasn't. I mean, great work in Tampa, but he's
outgoing.
He's an outgoing guy. He's a very intellectual type of guy. He's a renaissance man. He has a myriad range of interests, and because of that, Chicago, being a world-class city, it's a really good fit for him.
Just because everybody that comes to the ballpark, I mean, it seemed like he was shaking hands and kissing babies left and right today.
Literally kissing babies. He had a baby who was carrying with him around BP for a while. That's outside, and it's another deep count for Kyle Hendricks on Tulo with DJ at first. DJ's running here.
Well, and keep an eye on that, because only 2 times this year has Hendricks thrown more than 100 pitches.
Well, he had a 3-2 count on Blackman,
yes.
a 3-2 count on LeMahieu, and now a 3-2 count on Tulowitzki.
Yeah, and I start DJ.
Troy taking his time. Foot on the back line of the batter's box. 3-2. DJ takes off, and it's fouled off.
Just watching that.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just watching that foul ball go off, I was just seeing who was going to cover, and it was going to be Addison Russell, the second baseman. This is the 21st pitch of this inning upcoming.
And That is in the air to left field. Catch made out there by DeNorfia, and they're 2 outs. Well, Carlos Gonzalez honored as National League Player of the Week along with Cole Hamels. And it was a tremendous week, especially over the weekend. 4 home runs over the weekend. The average for the week, 476. He slugged 1190. 5 home runs, 11 ribbies.
And you're hoping you get those kind of numbers if you're playing a video game.
And he said the hardest ball he may have hit is that one hopper to the first baseman in his last at bat. If he got that thing airborne, he would have been trotting around the bases for a 3rd time yesterday.
That's when you know you're locked in. And taking pitches like that one.
Well, Walt made a marvelous point about Cargo and where he is now. He said he's dictating the at bat as opposed to when he was charging the pitcher and out front, and the pitcher typically had him 0-2. There goes DJ, and it's pulled sharply into right field for a base hit, and DJ will go first to third. Gives you an idea right there how hard Cargo hits the ball, because literally Addison Russell was out on the grass and the ball was a step and a half from him, and he still couldn't get it.
And you know that when that ball is coming, it's going to hit grass, then dirt. I mean, he's going to end up way over in this area even after the ball's hit. So he's tried to get an extra 10 to 12 feet on the grass. DJ taking off with 2 outs. You see where that is, and you just keep going. You know, once it gets by that second baseman, nobody's going to throw you out of third.
So here's Nolan seeing if the Rockies can come through with 2 outs. He takes ball 1. Rockies have been very good going first to third, taking that extra base on hits. In fact, they're #1 in the National League. The Cubs are #2. So a moment ago, that was the 63rd time that a Rockies base runner has gone first to third on a single.
And it doesn't just take blinding, just this blinding speed to do that. It takes knowing where the outfielders are playing, knowing how hard the balls hit, what kind of arms they have, cutting the bag between first and second. All of that, will get you first to third more than just a guy that could, run a 6.5 60.
No, and it's something. It's another area, especially in the Rockies' home ballpark at Coors Field. You need to take care of that, take advantage of that, I should say, because it is so vast in the outfield. You ought to even below average runners at times should be able to go first to third at Coors Field.
Prior preparation before the pitch comes. What are you going to do?
2-0 fouled off.
It's not reacting after the fact. It's being proactive.
Six pitches here for Kyle Hendricks in the first frame. Corey Dickerson on deck, and it's a 3-1 count. Schwarber, the young catcher. All 4, and now they're loaded up for Dickerson. And a guy who rarely walks people has been in nothing but deep counts and has issued 2 free passes here at the top of the first.
And his high mark for walks this season, he had only done it 1 time. He had 3 walks in a game against Pittsburgh way back on April 29th. He come into the game 6th in the National League, his fewest walks per 9 innings pitched. Just 1.63 walks per 9.
Scoring first is so important to any team, but in particular the Rockies. When the Rockies score first, they are 29-11. When they don't, they're 13-43. And that differential is the 5th largest in baseball between the positive side and the negative side.
Well, and they've won 7 straight from scoring the first run.
Yep.
So, I mean, that takes it even deeper into those numbers we just showed.
0-1 on Dickerson. Inside, 1-1 on Corey. Corey did not play yesterday, but had several hits in the first 2 ball games Friday and Saturday in his return for the disabled list with the plantar fascia.
And he might only play the first couple games in this series and get Wednesday off.
This ball is bounced to Russell, and he'll throw to first. So Kyle Hendricks works out of it. The Rockies load the bases, a hit and a pair of walks. They do not score, however. Inning for the Rockies, Jorge De La Rosa is on the mound. You can see on the beautiful new big screen in left center field here at Wrigley Field, part of the makeover that's going to take about 5 years here at Wrigley. Dexter Fowler, the former Rocky, he'll lead things off with the Cubs. Dexter's average not pretty at 236, but Dex has really been swinging the bat much better of late, getting on base. Here's the Southwest batting order for Joe Madden. Kyle Schwarber's got a big bat, a very powerful left-handed hitting catcher. He'll bat second. Then Chris Bryant. Anthony Rizzo leads the club in home runs. Jorge Soler, big and strong. He can go deep. Kristen Orfia, Starlin Castro. Kyle Hendricks will bat 8th, the pitcher, and then Addison Russell. For De La Rosa, 6-4. We always talk about the work he's done historically at Coors Field. How about what he's done out on the road this year?
193 ERA. That's the 4th lowest mark in the National League. It's kind of a change from what he'd been in 2013 and 2014. He had a better home ERA than road, but not this year. In his last 12 starts, too, he's just been outstanding. 6-2 with a .222 batting average against.
It's the first time Dex has ever faced his former teammate De La Rosa. Dex with Houston last year. De La's always pitched well against the Cubs. 4-0 lifetime, .232 ERA. That just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
This has been the better side this year for Dexter, hitting right-handed.
Dex hit a home run yesterday in the 11-5 loss the Cubs suffered to Philadelphia. And here's the 3-1 to Dex. In the air to center field. Charlie Blackmon territory. And Charlie's got it. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively tonight. Corey Dickerson is back in left field. Charlie obviously is in center. Cargo is in right. And it's Arenado, Tulowitzki, LeMahieu, and Ben Paulson in the infield, with Michael McHenry catching for the first time in 10 days. Well, whenever there's a left-hander on the hill, every club has the lefty they go to for the first couple of rounds of BP, to the starters in the game. Well, your old buddy Lester Strode, they about wore him out today.
45 minutes, he said, man, my arm's about ready to fall off. He threw every group.
Schwarber hits it to deep center field, but it's playable.
Whatever wind there is tonight, it's blowing straight in from center field. So you'll see some of those balls go up. You think for a second it has a chance. And then, nope, the wind's going to knock it down.
And here comes the crowd favorite, Chris Bryant, out of the University of San Diego. And they were disappointed, a lot of people, especially Cubs fans, that he wasn't brought up initially. He came up a couple weeks into the season, and he had an immediate impact.
He's the first Cub rookie to make an all-star game since 2008. He just kind of said he's embracing whatever pressure there is on him. And I'm a high draft pick, big name, playing in a large market. Doesn't seem to faze him.
Yeah, I would think, we'll see if it plays out this way, hopefully it does, that Jorge has the right arsenal to combat Chris Bryant. He's a young kid, a lot of young kids, they hunt the fastball, and well they should. He has not done well against off-speed pitches. You alluded to it earlier in the broadcast. He swings and misses against off-speed deliveries at an alarming rate. There's a great example of it. There was the changeup.
And also down. He doesn't hit the ball down very well. Big, tall kid, so he's going to like the ball up more than he will down. And you can see him how he straightens the knees out and then has to fold over the top half to even try to reach that ball.
Split finger count. It's 1-2. And that's what he got him with. A strikeout of Chris Bryant and a very strong start for De La Rosa. We'll go to the second. No score at Wrigley. We'll have Ben Paulson to lead things off. Let's check in with our intrepid reporter, former big leaguer Ryan Spilborghs. Hi, Spilly.
Hello, Drew. Hello, Jeff. Well, you guys were talking about the noise people were making to have Chris Bryant, and rightfully so, because part of the reason the Chicago Cubs didn't have him in the big leagues was that this thing called Super 2. So what the Chicago Cubs did is they held him back. It had to be either 21 days on the 40-man or 12 days on the Major League active roster. Why that's important is because it extends Chris Bryant's time under control for the team. So rather than being 2020, he is now part of the Chicago Cubs till 2021. Now, why this is important to me, why I will squawk at it, is because he's the first major leaguer to go into spring training, lead all of Major League Baseball in home runs, and not make the team. If this team, for somehow, here's a ground ball to first. If for some reason the Chicago Cubs don't make the playoffs, and here's my argument, if they don't make it because of 2 weeks of control, I think that's a crime. I look back to the California Angels, Los Angeles Angels a couple years ago, 2012. Mike Trout gets called up April 28th, wins Rookie of the Year. Guess what? They finish 3 games back of Oakland Athletics. And you telling me in that month when the Angels were 88 and 45, 53, that you couldn't have won 3 more games with Mike Trout? Same thing with Chris Bryant.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing, but Spilly, if you ever work in a front office, I guarantee you'll feel differently because you get that extra year of control with guys that you feel are going to be, generational type of players. So I completely understand it from an organization standpoint.
I get it at times too, but ultimately I've always felt the best players on the field, and as being a former player, if I'm seeing my team is maybe better with this guy at third base, wouldn't you want to throw us out there and roll the dice the entire season, even if it costs something down the road? If it gets us to the playoffs, isn't the World Series and playoffs the ultimate goal?
Spilly, I hear exactly what you're saying, because that's happened before. I mean, these aren't the first couple of guys that it's been there, but it goes back to, what do you bargain for in the collective bargaining agreement, and you actually got it knocked down from 3 years down to the Super 2, so they did give up a few of those days in the last collective bargaining agreement. Now the question is it going to come back up in 2016?
Strikeout of Mike McHenry, so they're 2 gone, and that'll bring up De La Rosa. And as good as Chris Bryant has been, and as great as we know Mike Trout is, and I understand Spilly's point.
I understand both sides.
Absolutely, but think in a 2-week period of time that one guy, a position player, is going to make the difference in 3 victories. That's probably a bit of a stretch.
I don't know, but with his power, you never know. Maybe one swing of the bat, he wins you a game. Does that 3 times in 2 weeks. I see both sides. I see as a former player, I'm understanding and feeling what Spilly has to say. From the other side, you also see what they're saying. If I can control them for 1 more year without arbitration and/or then free agency, I've got to do that because that's best for my club.
Absolutely.
Well, we don't have to make those decisions, so that's good.
No, we don't. And I also think from Theo Epstein's standpoint, De La fouls this off. Not that you're not trying to win each and every year, but realistically, they believe with this young nucleus that they have that they were probably a year or 2 even away from really truly contending. Look at
watch it. How did that miss everybody?
Thankfully it did.
Because there's no netting low at this ballpark.
It did catch that woman's arm, evidently. Outside. Kyle Hendricks, 25-year-old, Newport, California, went to school in Hanover, New Hampshire. Dartmouth, yeah.
Came over from Texas with the Ryan Dempster trade. 8th round pick, 264th overall.
And that's strike 3, so he fans McHenry and De La Rosa to end the 2nd inning. Middle of 2, no score at Wrigley Field in Chicago on a pretty Monday evening. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Let's go places. By Courtyard by Marriott, Western Elegance in the cultural heart of the city. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Michigan Avenue was bustling today. Beaches were filled up. North Beach, Lake Michigan, on a day where the temperature was in the low 90s. A lot of college students home for the summer. Every day was a weekend, huh?
Yeah, because they got to kind of cram it in now because semester's just around the corner.
Just around the corner.
Boys.
They'll have a syllabus in hand shortly.
Talking to my two boys.
I figured that's what you were doing. Anthony Rizzo, cleanup man for the Cubs, will step up. Nobody crowds the plate like Rizzo, and because of that fact, he's been hit a National League leading 21 times. I mean, literally, his whole body just hangs over the middle of the plate. And the first pitch is right there for a strike.
The only other guy that I played with that I could remember that stood like Rizzo did, and that was Brian Downing. When he was his last year with us with the Texas Rangers, he stood just like Anthony Rizzo.
And Rizzo rolls it to Tulowitzki. Rockies had the shift on, 1 out. Rizzo continues to struggle offensively, hitting just .216 in the month of July. Jorge Soler coming up. Look at the guys who struggled in July. Dex has picked it up of late, but Rizzo, .216. Chris Bryant, 31 punch-outs and 79 at bats. Starlin Castro hasn't hit. Got another one for you. And this one just boggles your mind. They're celebrating the 100th year of baseball here in Wrigleyville at Wrigley Field. They're averaging 3.15 runs per game at Wrigley Field this year. It is the lowest output at home in the 100 years of Cubs baseball here. The next lowest was 1919 when they averaged 3.25 runs per game.
So 150 runs in 48 games coming into tonight.
You know, and you have Rizzo. You went out and you got Dexter Fowler. Dex always been a very good offensive player. Starlin Castro's a holdover, and then you bring up all these young phenoms, at least on paper and what they produced in the minor leagues, and yet collectively, especially here at home, they're not scoring.
Well, you look at their lineup and it is good, but do they have that one veteran presence? I know Rizzo's been around for a little bit, but do they have that one guy they can lean on? I think that might be the one piece of that puzzle that they're missing.
When you strike out a lot, and again, they can be an impactful lineup, they can hit the long ball, but when you strike out a bunch, there are a lot of places a pitcher can go to get through a lineup. And case in point, there's another strikeout. Jorge Soler goes down. 2 of the first 5 have struck out against De La Rosa. And that'll bring up Chris Denorfia.
899 strikeouts as a club. Beautiful look of the split finger out of the hand for De La Rosa. And if you start to look now with his pitch repertoire, what he's throwing, fastball, cutter, he's starting to throw the split finger more than he is the four-seam fastball.
And other than like a reliever, like a Bruce Sutter, I've never seen that before.
Not from a starter, no. And a guy that's likes to use the fastball that set up the split finger. Now he's throwing the split finger sometimes first pitch and then finishing it off last pitch.
0-1 on Denorfia. Always liked him as an extra outfielder. Fastball at 92, a strike 0-2. Look at throw ERA. Jorge's looking up only to Zach Greinke, who last time I checked had a rather decent year. And Garrett Cole, who's had an extraordinary year as well for the Pirates.
14 wins for Cole.
0-2. And that fastball down, 1-2.
Just on a couple of fastballs to Denorfia. Let's take a peek in here. Once the off-speed pitch down.
That was a curveball. First one he's thrown, I believe. This guy at the plate I've always been a big fan of, and I know you have as well, Huey.
Well, I think Division III guy. Not Division I, not even Division II, junior, Division III.
He went to Wheaton College in Massachusetts. Here's the 1-2. And that's bounced out. And not only did he go to a Division III school, at the time he went to Wheaton, they had a JV program. He went, and it was the first year that they actually were going to play varsity baseball at the D3 level. And they've gone on to great heights in Division III baseball. Under the same coach, DeNorfia was drafted out of there after his senior year. He still has the career hits record at Wheaton College. Came as a very good athlete, raw. He turned himself into a professional and a big leaguer, and now a longtime big leaguer, 32 years of age.
And even our own Nick Parson from the communications department of the Rockies went to Wheaton.
Yep. Native of Connecticut. Here's the 2-2. And that ball's well hit to center field. Blackman will make the catch right in front of the ivy. DeNorfia gave it a ride. Another 1-2-3 inning for De La Rosa. Third put out in the ball game for Blackman. This one was more of a test than the first two. The third against Kyle Hendricks. Rockies fans, join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts and photos. Utilize Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Make sure you use the hashtag Toyota Talk as well. We'll get to some of those comments and pictures throughout the evening. Charlie Blackman will be first. And here's our first tweet. Congratulations. He's from the Isotopes. Yep. Infielder Trevor Story. He was named the Pacific Coast League Player of the Week. And every night he's throwing out like 3 extra base hits. Trevor's really coming along offensively. Got off to a slow start when he moved from New Britain to Albuquerque, but he's been on a tear for a while. Here's the 0-1 to Charlie outside, 1-1. Charlie struck out swinging on a 3-2 pitch. It seemed like everybody that Kyle Hendricks faced in that first inning worked himself to a 3-2 count. He ended up giving up a couple of walks, a sharp single to Cargo. The Rockies had the bases loaded, and he got out of it by inducing a ground ball to the right side by Corey Dickerson. He worked a 1-2-3 second inning.
But that first inning, it was patient at bats, and for Kyle on the hill, he wants you to get yourself out early in the at bat. We're trying to throw you something soft away, and you roll over. There's a little option play from Anthony Rizzo, backhand option.
It worked well. One out, DJ LeMahieu, the one-time Cub, coming up. And we talked to him during spring training about the trade and when he heard what he felt like.
I was surprised from the Cubs called me first and said we traded you, and I'll be honest, I didn't really say too much. I was just ready to get off the phone and be a Rocky. Yeah, it bothered me, no doubt. I was their GMs. I was like their first trade, and more or less kind of a throw-in in that trade. And I just kind of thought that they viewed me as, it was kind of like everyone in baseball's perspective of me at that point, where he's not really useful.
Well, he's plenty useful. He now has a 17-game hitting streak. Give me a guy with some talent. Give me a guy who's a hard worker. And more than anything, give me a guy who's got a chip on his shoulder, and I want him on my side every day of the week.
A little attitude to him. And DJ has that, but in a positive way. He uses it as fuel to further and get better his career.
7 for 12 in the first series against the Cubs this year. And in tonight's ball game, he's been on twice. A walk and a single now. 17-game hitting streak matches Nolan Arenado's 17-game earlier this season. Troy Tulowitzki has the longest in baseball this year at 21 games. That came through a good portion of June and into July. The other long streaks in the National League this year, Wilson Ramos, Grady Andrew McCutcheon.
Two catchers, Ramos and Posey.
Had a broken bat, fly ball to left in the first inning. I'll tell you what, they're forcing Hendricks into a number of pitches. He's already at 54 here as he works in the third.
This was the game plan that Blake Doyle had put together for the hitters when they were going up to stand in the box. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But tonight, these guys are saying, if you're not going to throw it where I want it, I'm not going to be chasing 2 or 3 inches off the plate. The strike zone's been very solid all night from Mark Carlson. There's Blake talking to him a little bit around the batting cage during batting practice today. So when somebody's not overpowering like Kyle, 89 miles an hour, a little cutter, sometimes an occasional curveball, you have to wait him out.
Pulled the string, and it's a 2-2 count on Troy. Troy trying to snap out of an 0 for 16. The Rockies, as Cargo gets ready, better than anybody in baseball, second time through a lineup. Second time they get a look at the starting pitcher. They've hit just under 300 this year.
Make the adjustment.
Here's what we're talking about. First time through, the Rockies at 254. They improved by 40 points, but the 294 average is the best in baseball. This is slowly hit to Bryant. He's got to go to first base. So DJ's in scoring position for Cargo with 2 outs. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies score 7 or more runs, and folks, they scored 17 yesterday. Go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6, and get your Rockies taco special. Live Boss at Taco Bell. I hope you took advantage of that earlier this afternoon. Cargo ripped the single to right in the first inning. He beat the shift with an RBI single yesterday. And the shift is on for Chicago right now. It's on the outside corner. Cargo, career .291 hitter. After that base hit in the first, he's up to .272. Think about this. He had 4 home runs when the calendar turned to June. He's now got 18.
And I'm not sure he thought, looking at that batting average sometime earlier this year, am I ever going to get it above 270 this year? Now he's up to 272, climbing quickly.
I mean, for a while he's trying to get it above the Mendoza line.
And then it was 215. Okay, got it up in the 220s.
Listen, talent, hard work, and a good attitude wins out. He brings all 3 to the ballpark every day. It's inside. And here's the home run leader since June 1st in the National League. Cargo's hit more than anybody, 14. There's Nolan right behind him at 13. And Stan's still on the list, and he hadn't played since like June 15th.
Yeah, he's been out 3 weeks, a month.
Yeah, it's been a while. 1-1 on Cargo. Trying to keep it in on Cargo. Let him get his arms extended. Outfield straight up.
All kinds of room for him to just poke a ball to left field if they pitch him away.
This ball is driven to left center field with authority, way back and gone. 2-run home run, Cargo, number 19. We're just starting to put the resume together for another Player of the Week on it.
Well, that was a little bit more than a poke to left field. That was a shot.
That was a shot.
But his thought process was, they're going to pitch me away this time. They're not going to try to let me get beat or me beat them. I'll just hit it out to left field. We've seen 3 balls hit to center field that got hung up in the wind. This one cut through whatever wind there is and got out in that gap.
Listen, we've said it many times, and Huey, in your 10-plus years in the big leagues, you played with some great players. There are very, very few, honestly, that can truly carry a club. I mean, legitimately carry a club by themselves for a period of time, 7-10 days. This cat can do that.
And he did on this swing to hit it out. You know, I was talking to Ron Coomer, who does radio for the Cubs, and Ron and I played together here in Chicago, Minnesota Twin guy. He goes, man, Carlos Gonzalez has as much power. I was watching him during batting practice. I said, Bud, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait till he does it in the game.
And Arenado thrown out by Addison Russell, but the Rockies have a 2-0 lead. Cinco goes deep to left center, number 19. RBIs 48 and 49 for Little Pony. RM Data Strong Fan, and we'll get you into an upcoming game, we hope. It's brought to you by T-Mobile every night. Rockies with a 2-0 lead on the 2-run home run by Carlos Gonzalez. And Starlin Castro is going to lead things off against De La Rosa in the third. Castro, 233 average. Fargo's smoking hot, 2 for 2 in this game. Yesterday, the pair of home runs and an RBI single. He drove in 6. Sixth time in his career he's driven in 6 in a game.
There have been those home runs and base hits that have either gotten you back to even or put you ahead. It's not the down by 7 or 8 runs or up by 8 runs. No, a lot of his hits now have been meaningful, big time hits during the game. The right time.
One ball and 2 strikes. Castro's been in a big time funk, just 7 for his last 69. He never played with DJ on the same minor league club, but Castro was instructional league with DJ, spring training with DJ. Naturally, as everybody who's ever been around DJ, he has the utmost respect for him. Pull to third. God, he has soft hands. Castro gets up the line. Strong throw by Nolan. I mean, seriously, that's not that easy, is it?
No, I'm joking because he made it look so easy. I'm laughing. A little drop step. I've got it. And then I'll just kind of gather myself. Well, that's not the perfect fielding position, but I've got good hands, and then I'll come over the top with that 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Sometimes you just have to play the ball how it's hit. There's no perfect formula is how to field a ground ball.
Especially at third.
Sometimes it's self-defense.
1 out. Kyle Hendricks. Joe Madden's done this for a long time. He bats his pitcher 8.
So Doug has a number for what happens when teams bat their pitcher 8 this year. They're 87 and 95, so a 478 win percentage.
Doug's not a fan.
I know he's not.
That's caught by DJ. He's going to make the Cubs regret that move all night long for the next 3 days. I mean, that's how he plays every night. But what an extraordinary play. And listen, we always talk about him being 6'4". You were a 6'3" middle infielder, and it's unusual. It helps him out.
With some of the catches that he's had, this one, if he's not 6'4", doesn't reach it. A few days ago with the infield in, he had to jump up and make a catch. He got to that. I mean, he plays to his body at 6'4". But sometimes for me, he plays more like he's 6 feet. He's so graceful out there. You know, how many times in basketball or in football you say, oh, yeah, he's a smaller guy, but he plays much taller and much bigger. Well, DJ at times is that way, but he plays smaller because he's got quick feet.
Breaking ball, and they're going to try Nolan again. Madison Russell finds out that's not a good place to hit it. Another 1-2-3 inning with some help defensively for Jorge De La Rosa. Rockies up 2-0 on the cargo bomb. To the Angels, Josh Rutledge with Dustin Pedroia going down is now with Boston with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. Always good to be in Chicago.
It is. I mean, this is a special place. One of the oldest stadiums in baseball. We know about that. Not only it's just the history. And today it was fun for me because I got a chance to sit in the dugout and talk to Billy Williams. And Billy was a coach when I was here. He was first base coach. But just talk about hitting. And he was bringing up, Ron Santo and Ernie Banks and how he teaches hitting to his grandkids. And I'm like, this is a legend. He's got his name and number retired. It's up on a flagpole here. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, and you got to work for and with Billy Williams for a long time. I've talked to him on a couple of occasions in the past. What a fine gentleman. What a humble man.
Very humble for his accomplishments in this game. It doesn't have to be that way, but he'll talk baseball all day long. So I was sitting down there with him for 25 minutes.
You were in the dugout. It was just you and him forever.
Just the two of us.
We walked past his statue on the way into the yard.
Yes, we did.
Tonight.
That's when you know you made it.
Yeah, when they have a statue out front, you've probably done some important things through the years. We lost another humble and great one in the offseason when Ernie Banks passed away. It's inside on Corey Dickerson. He grounded to second his first time up. 2-2 on Corey. And they honored Mr. Cub with his 14 behind home plate all season long. There are 3 retired numbers on each flagpole. On the left field line and right field line. That's fouled off.
Ernie Banks, Ron Santo, Fergie Jenkins down the left field line. And as I mentioned on the right field flagpole, it's Billy Williams, Ryan Sandberg, and Greg Maddux.
Speaking of Maddux, you see what Smoltz did during his speech?
Put the wig on.
Put the wig on. This ball's lined to left, and it almost went over Denorfia's head. Ben Paulson's coming up. It's time for our big hit presented by Mako. Turn the car you drive into the car you love. What a day yesterday for a lot of Rockies, but in particular Ben Paulson. Hit a couple of home runs, that one to the second deck. And let's not forget the triple he had in the first inning with 2 outs to give the Rockies an early 2-0 advantage. And Ben's got himself a base hit here with 1 out in the 4th inning.
And isn't this typical of a ball player's mentality? He has this huge day yesterday with the triple, 2 home runs. And he's still lamenting the fact that he didn't take a walk in his last at bat. Well, yeah, I swung at a 3-1 pitch. I should have taken the walk. Yeah,
and did you know Paulson's 12 total bases yesterday, a Rocky season high. The last guy with more, that Cargo guy with 13 against the Astros in 2012. And this is maybe the most important element of that note. The last Rocky with 2 home runs and a triple in the same game before Paulson did it yesterday was Ryan Spilborgh's June the 13th, 2010 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Spilly, do you remember that day?
Of course I remember that day. I relive it every morning. I wake up, I have coffee, I watch that. No, I want to talk about Ben Paulson. I talked to him today about his approach and just what he's feeling at the plate.
Hit and run, and that's a base hit to right. Paulson will cut the bag and head to third. So Mike McHenry executing that hit and run perfectly. Spilly continued.
And Ben Paulson was just saying the only thing he cares about is sitting back. He just wants to feel like he's sitting on his back leg and letting his hands fly. And that's such a simple approach. It's so hard to do because you see the baseball coming towards you. At times you can see it with the guys on the Cubs right now. I was watching Starlin Castro hit. He is flying towards the baseball. Just the ability to sit back and use your hands makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, that's what hitting comes down to. The longer you can sit back, the longer you can see the baseball.
So here's De La Rosa with 1 out. Kenner draws a throw, and that's basically to make sure that De La Rosa had squared around. Again, the Rockies, we always mention this, Walt's a big proponent of the slug bunt.
And Jorge can do that.
Yes, he can. not a great hitter, but he has some ability at the plate.
He's really improved in that ability. Because I remember when he first came over here, it wasn't a very good swing. He had trouble bunting, but now he'll give you that at bat. And how about this again, though? I mean, you had the hit and run, but another Rocky goes first to third. 64 times they've done that, including twice tonight.
0-1. Again, it's lined foul. Yeah, if Spilly, by the way, and we love Spilly, but if he shows us that video one more time of that the 2-homer triple day, how many times did we watch it on the plane yesterday?
Oh, I thought he just put that on my computer. He put it on your computer too?
Yeah, it popped up. It's like the screensaver now.
Screensaver.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that? I mean, it was the greatest day you guys have ever seen. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
what I'd like to see right here is this ball get put in play.
Yeah, don't be so concerned about getting it to third base. You can go ahead and pull it to first. At least get that runner to second in McHenry.
Bunt and all 3 fouls, so De La Rosa is gone and a strikeout, and that'll bring up Charlie.
Rockies dugout stores are the place for all things Rockies, with the best selection of Rockies merchandise and tickets, plus exclusive new Peanuts bobblehead of the month. Get your gear on at the Rockies dugout stores. 6 locations throughout Colorado.
Charlie taking his time, trying to produce an RBI 2-out hit here. Blackman a strikeout and a bouncer to first. Paulson at third, McHenry at first, a pair of singles. That guy, Kyle Schwarber behind the plate, that is a catcher's body.
Oh, it's middle linebacker's body.
Well, listen, the Bears are thinking of signing him to play Mike linebacker. You're right. He's 6 foot, 235. He was an all-state linebacker in Ohio growing up.
Catcher, linebacker. A few years ago, I was watching that one of those regionals. He was hitting the ball all over the place.
Two balls and a strike. Rockies up 2-0. Good eye. Rockies have been very patient. They're forcing Hendricks to get the ball up and get the ball in the strike zone. Got a number of hitter counts here in the first 4 frames. They had the bases loaded in the first. They had the 2-run home run in the third from Cargo. 2 men on here in the 4th inning.
Averaging over 20 pitches per inning.
So McHenry will be off at first.
We're playing Charlie to the opposite field in the outfield. A lot of room in right center field and then down the line.
Outside, and the bases are loaded for DJ LeMahieu. It's the 3rd walk. Jenny Kavnar with her Twitter account Funny, Spilly makes me watch those highlights for every pregame show instead of pump-up jams.
And it's true. You should see how crazy Jenny gets when she watches that. She goes crazy. She starts going, yeah! And then that's how we do our pregame show.
So you have to do that and not jock jams, right?
Yeah, it's better than jock jams. Who needs to listen to that? You just throw on that game, watch me sprint around. It looks great. Yeah, you're all fired up.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Is this what we have to look forward to?
Yes, indeed. It livens up our day.
Yeah, every team needs to have the jester or the goofball. If I'm that for you guys, then by all means, let me continue to do what I normally do.
So that's what your Twitter name is too, right?
Yeah, well, the Spilly Goat is greatest of all time. That's the Spilly Goat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy. All right, at third base for the Rockies right now, Ben Paulson. Mike McHenry's at second. Blackman at first, and that pitch in there, a strike on DJ. DJ a walk and a single. Now has a 17-game hitting streak. And it's 0-2.
Some guys don't like to hit with 2 strikes. I think DJ feels that way. He says, I've been in it enough in my career, and you have to have confidence to hit with 2 strikes.
Tried to go away with the fastball. It's 1-2. Already 85 pitches for Kyle Hendricks with 2 outs in the 4th inning. DJ pokes this one foul. Did you find that the better place you were in offensively, the easier it was to hit with 2 strikes?
Yeah, because if you weren't in a good place, you usually were trying to swing at the first or second pitch to get the at-bat over with.
DJ is a straight-up beast. He has been.
Yeah, because you knew you couldn't get to 2 strikes because you didn't stand a chance.
DJ with a bouncing ball through the left side base hit. 1 runner scored. Here comes McHenry. Throw to the plate. Not in time. 2-run single, DJ LeMahieu. 4-0 Colorado. I'll tell you what, he gave a high 5, or actually a low 5, to Eric Young at first. He almost took his arm off.
Because he's excited. 2 reasons. 1, he drives in 2 runs. That's the most important thing, to put your club up 4-0. But again, it goes back to, okay, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm a good player, and I'm going to show you how good I am. Now, that ball with some sink in it, coming in off the hands, but strong enough to fight it off into that 5-6 hole. And then Michael coming in with the swipe, slide, going out and around. You know, challenge those arms is things you can do when you're up by a couple runs. Wonderful slide from McKinley.
Rockies just pulled off a double steal back live. Blackman and LeMahieu. And now it's 2nd and 3rd for Tulowitzki. So Walt Weiss, again, you get an early lead. You can start pulling some cards out and applying even more pressure offensively.
Yeah, so 26 stolen bases for Charlie, 13 for DJ. Nobody holding him on. The second baseman, who's supposed to be the guy, he just kind of stood off to the side.
Now they're going to take a look at it. And that's where Charlie's astuteness and DJ's really pay off. Charlie saw an opportunity, took off. DJ Reed, the lead runner, went behind him. Third base umpire is the crew chief, Brian Gorman. Obviously, it was his call.
The only question you have is, did that foot come off the bag?
It is time for a Subaru review. Whether you're on the road or at the game, everybody could use a second set of eyes. Let's see.
Well, they called him out.
They did call him out. Well, that'll end the inning. So I think, was it on? Did he come off the bag?
I think his foot came off the bag. It hit the bag and then popped up on the air. Then tagged him on the back foot.
In the inning, the Rockies get a pair of runs on the single by LeMahieu, 4-0. For 2 and a walk, 2 ribbies. Rockies up 4-0. And Jorge De La Rosa has retired all 9 he has faced. Top of the order for the Cubs, Dexter Fowler. Switch hitter in from the right side. Dex hit a fly ball to center field in the bottom of the first, and he takes high ball 1. Let's give you a look as to why Charlie was called out. We've seen this more and more. He clearly beat the throw. Now watch, his front foot came off. The tag by Chris Bryant went to his back foot, and so he was safe and then out. How can you correct that? Because we've seen so many of these the last 2 years because replay is used. In the past, and he was called safe initially anyhow, in the past obviously it would be overturned. I mean, can you do a pop-up slide?
Try to, but sometimes with the pop-up slide you hit the bag so hard that when you pop up your foot comes off the bag that way. But that's why I think you see more guys going head first into a bag, because it's easier to stay on the bag after your hands hit, because then your forearms stay there, your chest, even if it goes all the way down to your legs.
2-1 on Dex, and it's 3-1.
But now with the infielders being taught to keep that tag applied, it used to be a sweep tag. You just sweep it, go in and out with the tag, show the ball to the umpire, and that's how they made the call.
That's a tough break, because Tulo would have been hitting with 2 more men in scoring position. 3-1 on Fowler. And ball 4. So the first base runner for the Cubs, Dexter, who's always walked quite a bit. A leadoff walk in the 4th inning. And that'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Schwarber. The Rockies' upcoming home schedule is brought to you by Remax. It's not much of one. The Rockies are going to be on the road most of the next 3 weeks. They'll come home to take on the Mariners Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon. And we'll have all 3 ball games for you right here on Root Sports. And then after that, it's on to Washington and New York. The Rockies will play 3 against the Nationals, 4 against the Mets. The Rockies also will be in Seattle, another former club of yours, later on in the summer.
Early September. over a weekend, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I'm looking forward to that. It's been a few years since the Rockies have been in Seattle. Whenever I think of Seattle, I think of Fogger pitching a game in like 27 minutes.
I mean, you had to rearrange your dinner schedule because it was so early in that game, in that day.
Mike McHenry is going to go out and talk to De La Rosa. Mike has handled 10 of the 17 starts for De La Rosa this season, and with him behind the plate, De La has a 2.52 ERA, and the opposition's hitting below 200 against him.
You know, the last time De La pitched, Michael was not behind the plate because he was dealing with that knee tendonitis, a little swelling. But that's a smart play from Michael. You walk extra, you fall behind 2-0 to Schwarber. So call a timeout just to slow things down for a moment. Give him a chance to regroup.
And it's 3-0 on Schwarber.
Because your ball club just gave you a couple more runs. You're up 4-0. Don't give any freebies out there. And I know Rizzo's not hitting, and Solar, these guys, Chris Bryant. But still, it just takes one mistake, and they clip it, and it's a 3-run shot.
And back-to-back walks to begin the fourth inning. And you have Chris Bryant coming up. Yeah, Jorge's had so much success in a Rockies uniform. We all know that. But there's always a little bit of drama. And right now he's giving Walt Weiss in that Rockies dugout a little drama. A 4-0 lead for Colorado. He's not giving up a hit, but now he's walked the first two in the fourth, and you're in the middle of that Cubs lineup.
And then the first 3 innings, he only threw 9 balls total.
Yeah, go figure, right? Way inside on Chris Bryant. You wonder if, this is just a guess, is the finger bothering him? Because they've been pretty big misses all of a sudden.
They're not just trying to shave a corner. I'd like to see him throw a curveball here. And I say that because it forces you to get out in front, finish that pitch. Because he has a command of the fastball. Maybe then that gets him back to being able to do that.
The 1-0, and this ball smoked past Arenado. That's going to get a run home. Even Nolan the Great couldn't corral that one. Bryant hit it about 600 miles an hour. It's 4-1. That'll be the first hit for the Cubs.
You know, if that man can't field it, it was hit hard.
If he can't field it, it wasn't fieldable.
Nobody's going to field it. Loud shot off the bat of Chris Bryant. He's down trying to figure out what type of angle to get. And with it hit to his backhand, as hard as you don't have time to take it off the chest, wear it there.
And once that ball came up,
and then Nolan looks back like he caught something in the dirt, maybe a shoe mark that caused it to go different than what he thought.
Anthony Rizzo grounded to the right side his first time up. He takes slider for a strike. Rizzo didn't like the call. Thought it was a little bit outside. Schwarber's at second, Chris Bryant at first. Rizzo hits it in the air to center. Here comes Charlie, and he gets there. Lost the baseball though. And Schwarber's going to move safely to third. And the bases are loaded. Caught it in the very end of the webbing, and as soon as he hit the ground and rolled over, it came out.
And when it's at the very end, you don't have the chance to set it like you would like and have a stiff wrist before you hit that ground. You see his glove start to bend over right now. And it almost acted like a trampoline effect where it shoots it out of that glove.
I'm just thankful that he didn't roll over on that wrist.
Break a wrist, hurt his wrist, sprain it.
So the bases are loaded, nobody out. De La Rosa had cruised perfect through 3. Walk, walk, single, single. Jorge Soler at the plate. Struck him out his first time, and Soler takes a strike. And 0-2 on Soler. As discussed earlier, this is a club that strikes out a whole bunch.
And Jorge has the strikeout pitches to do it.
Soler has the second most strikeouts on the club, 92. Chris Bryant leads with 118. Line drive, base hit. Cargo up with a baseball, and stopping at third is Chris Bryant out of respect for Cargo's arm. It's 4-2. Still nobody out. It's an 0-2 single to right by Jorge Soler.
Yeah, 0-2. You can't leave a pitch up, middle, in the zone. It should be down in this area somewhere. It's not. Look where it is.
Center, center.
Right there. I mean, that doesn't get any better than that as a hitter. I mean, you're hoping for that pitch when it's 2-0, not 0-2.
Denorfia on the outside corner, changeup for a strike. Denorfia hit the ball well. In fact, he had the hardest hit ball the first time through the lineup. Drive to deep center field, caught right in front of the ivy by Charlie. 5 straight have reached in the 4th. The Cubs were down 4-0. They've cut that in half. Ground ball weakly hit. DJ is going to get there, but a run will score. And it's 4-3 for Denorfia's 14th RBI.
Christian Frazier, with all the traffic, he's had to get up this inning.
And how odd is that? You get the first 9 guys out, now you got action in the bullpen. Starlin Castro. And this with the pitcher on deck, man, this is where you really need, if you can, and Jorge has that ability to get a strikeout.
He was looking in the dugout to see if they might walk him with the pitcher on deck, first base open.
It's not a bad thought, because then you assume, you know, if you get Hendricks, whether, you know, if it's a strikeout, you have 2 outs, then you go after Addison Russell. Here, if the ball's put in play, it's probably a tie game.
Right, and with the Cubs, if you do walk him, then they have to make a choice. Do they pinch hit for their pitcher, and they only have a 4-man bench.
And they may very well, because of the pitch count and the relative ineffectiveness tonight of Kyle Hendricks. Chef's game managers go through. That's one of the things I'm sure that was discussed between Walt Weiss and Tommy Runnels. Okay, well, if we walk him, we may not be getting the pitcher.
Probably going to get David Ross or Taylor Teagard.
Well, they may need Ross to pitch later on, so Joe may not be able to go in that direction. That was a reference last night. David Ross in the big loss to Philadelphia pitched the ninth inning at a 1-2-3 ninth and then homered in the bottom of the ninth. This ball's pulled through the hole, base hit. That'll tie up the game. Soler coming home, and the throw's not going to get him. And the Cubs have taken a 5-4 lead. What a turn of events. This may be the toughest inning for De La Rosa all season.
Maybe for the past couple of seasons.
Guys who are slumping coming through. Starlin Castro is hitting below 140 in July, and he just produced a 2-run single to put the Cubs ahead.
Sometimes all it takes is a walk or two, and that's how this inning started. And Chris Bryant with the hard hit ball, and then it steamrolled from there. And then Starlin Castro coming through in the clutch. With that base hit, they'll go ahead and let Hendricks hit.
Well, this is tough for Jorge. Tough right now. There's a lot of baseball game left. This is popped up. It's going to drop. And it still works out. Sacrifice bunt. It's tough to swallow right now because you have your best going. You've produced a 4-0 lead early. And those are games that you want to put away. And De La Rosa was dealing.
And the Cubs are coming off being swept at home by the Philadelphia Phillies.
The worst teams, record-wise in the game.
And they were pretty down. There was, looking around and reading the papers. They expected to go out there and sweep the Phillies.
It's probably a feeling, and you've been there, Hugo, here we go again.
Exactly. And they jump out there. DJ gets a 2-out knock. Got 4-0. It's the fourth inning. It's not over.
But the whole deal, listen, they've thrown out some hits, but the whole deal started with walk to Fowler, walk right behind that on 4 pitches to Schwarber. You created the traffic. This ball's lined to the corner and left. And that's going to get Castro home. Addison Russell, an RBI double. It's a 6-run fourth inning for the Cubs.
Well, you might just have to go get De La Rosa. I mean, you don't want to have to do that this early. But heck, he's getting up 6 runs this inning.
He came into the ball game again with the third. He's going to go get him. Here comes Walt, third lowest road ERA. I don't know if I've ever seen something like this. He had not given up close to a hit in the first 3 innings. Couple strikeouts, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3. He faces 9 guys in the fourth, gets 2 outs, and is gone. So a tough fourth inning to say the least for Jorge De La Rosa. 6-4 Cubs. brought to you by the Ford Super Duty. Built better, built stronger, built Ford tough. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Several blocks inland from Lake Michigan, the Rockies had a 4-0 lead. It's now 6-4 Cubs, bottom of 4. Dexter Fowler, who led off the inning, will be the 10th man to come to the plate. And instead of facing De La Rosa, he'll now face Christian Friedrich. At second base, Addison Russell. He just doubled in that 6th run. And that's high, ball 1. Quick numbers on Christian Friedrich.
Yeah, 43rd game, and his season high and his career high in relief has been 2 2/3 innings, and he might be asked to do that tonight as well, because tomorrow they've named Johan Flande the starter.
Good movement there to get to the baseball by LeMahieu. That'll end the inning. I'll tell you more about Flande going tomorrow. That was one rough inning for the Rockies. 6-4 Chicago. Tulo to lead it off. Before the ball game, Walt Weiss was asked who will start tomorrow, and he said, barring something really unforeseen, Johan Flande will make the start. What he meant was that, you know, if somehow De La Rosa, who's his top pitcher, had a short outing and they had to go to Flande, you know, well, then they'd have to figure something out for tomorrow. Well, we just watched Jorge with his second shortest outing of the year. He goes 3 2/3 after 3 perfect innings. The only outing that was shorter for De La Rosa was coming off the groin strain in spring training. In his first outing of the year against the Padres, he went only 2 innings, gave up 9 runs, a career high. And since that time, you got what you typically would think you'd get out of Jorge. You know, high quality starts for the most part. But tonight, it just fell apart in the 4th inning. So the Rockies will have to jumpstart that offense again. Tulowitzki with a 1-1 count against Kyle Hendricks, who all of a sudden is on the plus side.
He's got a second life. Man, I feel good. I thought I was going to maybe be pinch hit for, be out of the game. Instead, I'm on the plus side.
I mean, how much money would you have bet? We don't talk about that. I understand
yeah.
that. But hypothetically, going to the 4th inning, who would be around longer? Hendricks, who had already given up 4, or De La Rosa, who is perfect?
I know where I'd put my money if I was to do so.
Hard sinker fouled off by Tulowitzki. You know, and it gives this guy, as you said, new life. And he's like, okay, I haven't been very good so far, but I can get myself a W now.
I can sneak one out here if I can get through this inning.
That offense produced 17 runs yesterday. And they're off to a good start here in Chicago. There's a lot of baseball left. Top of the 5th inning. Tulo 0 for 2. Carr goes on deck. And then Nolan. Those 3-2 counts. 94 pitches in for Hendricks. What a pretty late sunset here in Chicago. Kilo called time.
Granted by Mark Carlson.
I said it before. I think it's the hardest thing home plate umpires have to do. You hear somebody yell time, you instinctively you're going to yell time, even if that pitcher, even if the pitcher's already started. This is on the ground to second. Russell threw out. Troy, 1 out.
The Super Suites Conference Center at Coors Field. It's available for your game day or non-game day meeting. Groups of 25 to 200 will enjoy the views of the city as well as from the field from this unique meeting space.
So here comes Cargo with nobody on. A single in the first and an opposite field 2-run home run to left center in the third. Cargo pushes the bunt and he just didn't get it quite far enough to the left. But he hadn't been doing that against the shift. And even though you say, well, man, he's swinging the bat so well, I don't think it's a bad position down by a couple of runs.
You could bunt it all the way out to there. I mean, that's how much. I just hope it doesn't preclude him from doing it again because he said, oh, I bunted it back to the pitcher. Because if you get it down that line, a little bit like what Charlie did, his first at bat, fair or foul, even punching it towards where the third baseman normally plays. But don't lose that. Just because you got out, don't lose that.
You see more players doing things to counter shifts. Cargo had that pitching took away yesterday to the opposite field to beat the shift. For an RBI single early yesterday. Nolan a walk and a ground out either sharply off of Hendricks. It got redirected to Addison Russell. 2 outs, nobody on in the fifth. Fly ball to shallow right. That Russell will go out and make the catch. The Rockies go quietly in the 5th inning. They trail 6-4 in Chicago.
Chicago leads. Looking around Wrigley Field, it looks different. And I was asking guys about it. The new scoreboard, it's in left field. There's a new one in right field, some auxiliary scoreboard. if they like it. LaTroy Hawkins, he played here for a couple years, says he doesn't. He liked the fact that the rooftop looked better. Some of the guys like Dexter Fowler, I was asking him, hey, is it making any difference with home runs? He said, no, not really. But what's different to me, loving the fact that Wrigley Field has been the oldest field in the National League, is the music. They have now speakers that are playing the songs as the guys walk up, as you can hear as Kyle Schwarber walks up to the plate. It is different. I'm not sure if I like it yet, but it's certainly a pretty nice thing to look at.
The scoreboard helps because, quite frankly, here's Schwarber. Oh my goodness, this is not going to get out of the ballpark, but you may be able to write a college essay before the thing lands in Cargo's glove. Well, Spilly, I'm going to transition for you. I want you and Jeff to hear this. I was watching Schwarber take batting practice, right? And he hits a number of balls like that. He hits some balls a mile also. And so I took out a stopwatch on my phone. He hit 2 pop-ups to the outfield just like that were in the air for over 6 seconds.
Henry Blanco was telling me, hey, this kid is the real deal. Still's got some work to do as far as his catching goes, but Miguel Montero is going to be back in about a week, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Miguel Montero. Remember, Miguel Montero got brought here from Chicago, from Arizona to Chicago to help really make the bullpen and the pitching staff better. So Schwarber learning on the fly, a rookie, catching guys like John Lester. You can see the difference when you have like a regular catcher versus Schwarber, but he's still a work in progress.
And it still helps to have a Henry Blanco, who's a coach on the staff, because Henry could catch and throw with the best of them and call a game. So 6 seconds, you get down a couple hot dogs during that time.
Coney Island is a bunch of they down like 8 hot dogs in that period of time. It's an old scout trip to see if they go and see a kid. You know, maybe he doesn't get a hit or do anything special, but they'll watch him in BP, and if he hits a pop-up that lasts that long in the air, and say, well, he's got great bat speed.
You have to keep it in the air for 6 seconds.
Bryant grounds out to Nolan Arenado, 2 gone. And Friedrich will face Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs in the 4th inning had 5 hits. To give you some perspective, in their previous 21 innings against the Phils, they had 6 hits.
In a span of about 12 to 14 minutes, this game changed complexion, because I'll take it back even to that review at third base, because you had the stolen base.
You're right.
That was overturned.
You're right. I mean, who knows?
Right.
You know, Tulo throws out a base hit. It's a 6-0 game.
Yeah. But then that was overturned. You had the 2 minutes in between for commercials, 2.5 minutes. Then they come out in 10 or 12 minutes, put up 6 runs.
Anthony Rizzo with a 1-1 count. Anthony, his first 3 years in the league, didn't hit against left-handed pitching. But I don't mean literally he didn't come up and hit. I meant he didn't get many hits. Last 2 years, he's hit .311 against left-handed pitching. So he has really turned it around and made himself a legitimate full-time player. He's been an all-star the last couple of years.
That's just changed. His whole approach has changed from when he was with San Diego to how he is now with the Cubs.
Theo Epstein wanted him badly because he originally drafted him when he was with Boston. Theo did. And he never stopped believing in him. 2-2 on Rizzo.
Another big guy too, and chokes up on the bat like Joey Votto we saw yesterday and over the weekend back in Colorado. Anthony Rizzo, same thing. More bat control. That's a good 1.5 inches off the knob of the bat.
Didn't help there. Good pitch by Friedrich. He works a 1-2-3 5th inning. We're off to the 6th. The Rockies trailing 6-4. Rockies had a 4-0 lead. Carlos Gonzalez, a 2-run home run, 2-run single from DJ LeMahieu, but it all went away in the 4th inning. Jorge De La Rosa was cruising, but he gave up 6 runs, got only 2 outs before he was replaced by Christian Friedrich. In the 6th inning, Corey Dickerson will lead things off as you look at the Cubs box score. The slumping Cubs hit around in that 4th inning. And Kyle Hendricks is still out there. It looked like he was on life support 2 innings ago. He had a 1-2-3 5th inning. He's going to eclipse the 100 pitch mark with that last delivery.
And just the 3rd time he's done that this year. They've already had 2 guys warming up down in the bullpen.
Rockies have to get action also because Friedrich, the Chicago native, is due up 4th this inning. Christian's pitched well. He's retired the 4 hitters he has faced. Christian's got a lot of family here tonight. Gotta ask him, is his dad still the Cubs dentist?
To find out on that one.
There's Tommy Canley.
Justin Grimm now up for the Cubs, or I should say again. He was up earlier, and then they had James Russell, the left-hander, up, and now Grimm again.
Did Corey hurt his foot?
Catch it off the instep. The instep or the shin.
Right. And again, this is not, shouldn't be related to the plantar fascia on his left foot.
Ow.
Yeah, it was his shin.
Was it Todd Hollingsworth that did that?
Todd Hollingsworth, and he missed a whole year because he had a spider fracture of his tibia. I don't know if Todd was ever the same after that, honestly.
He used to wear that guard way up on his leg after.
I mean, it's almost guaranteed you're going to get a sinker inside again after you foul a pitch off your leg.
Always. They always come back in there. And you know they're going to do it, but what can you do about it?
This ball's line to right. That's what you can do about it.
He's limping going down the line. Attaboy, Corey.
So a leadoff base hit for the Rockies in the 6th. Ben Paulson, who's 1 for 2 coming up.
Open up. Don't let him come in with that pitch again. Slight limp as he's heading down. But the hit makes it feel better.
Yep. That's going to be all for Kyle Hendricks. Here comes Joe Madden. I'll tell you, with the foot situation for Corey, not to mention just getting that shin blown up on the foul ball, you forget that Corey runs well, and he's always dead on full go to first base. He's not able to do that right now. Back in a moment. Rockies veteran reliever LaTroy Hawkins reflects on his 21-year big league career. Swings by Sam's number 3 for breakfast with George, and enjoys a front row seat at Cheyenne Frontier Days with Tracy Ringlesby. Catch LaTroy Friday after the game on Rockies Real Time. One of the most interesting guys that we've met in our time in baseball. That'll be a good program. 6-4, the Cubs leading the Rockies. Rockies have the leadoff man on. Ben Paulson tying run at the plate in the 6th. Justin Grimm's on the hill now, and he takes one pitch over the outside corner at 95 for a strike.
Grimm spent part of the time in the big leagues, also part of it down in the minor leagues because he had to go down on rehab. He had a forearm strain. On the shelf for a while. Hard to still throw hard though. 95 miles an hour, 84 on the changeup.
It's a guy that gets a lot of punch outs when things are going well. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Also a pretty big curveball.
And this is bounced to Russell. There's one on the first. Bad throw, and really a poor throw by Castro, not only because it eluded the first baseman Rizzo and will allow Paulson to go to second, but he dropped way down.
Didn't need to. Dropped down and then just opened the shoulders and the ball sailed on him. This is about as tailor-made double play as you can get, and then misses first base by a good 5-6 feet. I mean, this is a good flip right there. Runner's not a problem.
That's not even close.
No, that's just a horrible throw. 17th error this season for Castro.
That's a huge break. You're talking about there should be 2 outs, nobody on. Instead, the Rockies have 1 out, Paulson in scoring position. Mike McHenry had a base hit in the 4th. 1 for 2.
Rockies 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position.
Henry's had a couple at bats in the last 10 days. That's it. So trying to get that timing back in one night. Again, he has not caught in 10 days because the knee was drained, and he's trying to get that healthy again. Willeen Rosario. Willeen will be the pinch hitter evidently for Friedrich.
I think that's also after missing all that time why Walt used the hit and run his last at bat in the 4th inning. Started Paulson. That just takes all the thought out of a hitter's head. Just all I'm thinking is get on top of the baseball, hit it to the right side if I'm a right-handed hitter.
Outside, 2 balls and a strike on McHenry. A high fly ball to right center field. Soler makes the catch. 2 outs.
The Rockies are seeking nominations for the 13th Annual Adult Leadership Award. This award recognizes individuals who have demonstrated a commitment to the Hispanic community. Visit Rockies.com/leadership for more information. As a pinch hitter in 2015, 7 for 22 with 4 RBIs. That's a .318 batting average. They'll draw Chris Bosio, the pitching coach, out. Goes back over to the scouting report.
You used to own Chris Bosio.
Yeah, well, triple home run. For my 8.
Tell the story about what Bosio said after he hit a home run against him on an 0-2 pitch.
Yeah, fastball took him out at Milwaukee County Stadium, and as I was running by first base, he said, "You're not that bleeping good."
But you kept trotting.
But I kept trotting and I smiled. Said, I got you.
So the conference is over, and the Baby Bull will step in with 2 outs. Ben Paulson at second. Rockies up 4-0 early, trail 6-4 here in the 6th. Called strike. A 2-strike count. Two strikes on Willeen. And he got him. Ball gets away. And they'll record the out at first. So the Rockies got a runner to second in the 6th inning. Do not score. Middle of inning number 6. It is 6-4. I've been there. .com 6-4. Cubs leading. A very nice view of the moon. Not quite full, but close. Tommy Kahnle. 24th appearance for Tommy. Be the 3rd pitcher used tonight for the Rockies. And he'll get Jorge Soler, Kristen Orphy, and Starlin Castro. 5, 6, and 7 in that Cubs lineup.
Pitched 2/3 of an inning in the game that the Rockies won on the walk-off 6-5 Friday night back in Colorado. Gave up a hit, had 2 strikeouts in that ball game. Both of those strikeouts coming via the changeup.
Soler strikeout and a base hit to drive in a run in that 4th inning. 6-run 4th inning for the Cubs. The base hit came on an 0-2 pitch. Kahnle pitches off the extreme 3rd base side of that rubber. He'll run that fastball up to 98 miles an hour. But it's really been the devastating changeup. It's probably been his most controllable pitch, and oftentimes his most useful pitch.
Well, and pitching that far off the right-handed side of the rubber makes it tough on the right-handers to pick up.
The Rockies farmhand Pedro Strop, who began his career in the Rockies organization as an infielder. In fact, I think he was an infielder with Ryan Spilborghs early on in their minor league career. What's going on here? Mark Carlson's been summoned by Joe Madden.
I think he's saying, is he on the rubber? I think that's what Joe might be asking.
To answer you, Drew, yes. I did play baseball with Pedro Strop, and he was a shortstop. And today it was funny. I see him with Manny Ramirez. Manny Ramirez is a special hitting instructor with the Chicago Cubs. He's occasionally out here. Curious what the umpires are checking right now.
You know what? They're asking for some scissors, so there must be something on the glove that might be too long.
Wow, that is some managing right there by Joe Madden.
Now, do you think this came from Joe, or do you think somebody looked in and said, boy, that could be distracting, or is this gamesmanship?
I think it's gamesmanship.
I think it's gamesmanship too. It's rare you see stuff like that ever happen. I've never, to be honest, I've never ever seen this happen. I've seen guys with bright colored gloves, and that's obviously a distraction, but never with the lacing on someone's glove.
But didn't we have an instance sometime in the last year where the lacing of the glove hit the runner, and that's why he was out, and then they made the rule change? See, to me, that doesn't seem like it's that long. Well, if that's distracting you as a hitter,
yeah, not
you're
the
looking
changeup.
at the wrong things.
DJ LeMahieu picked up a piece of dirt off the mound and looked to be almost jokingly throwing it in the dugout of Chicago.
So we just wasted 2.5 minutes of this game while they had to come out and cut some lacing off.
I don't think they cut any lacing off. I think Keith Duggar, the Rockies trainer, had to tie the lacing on Tommy Kahnle's glove.
Either way, let's go.
Either way, I'm curious where this next pitch may be.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know if I want to tap on the shoulder of the guy who throws 98. Say, hey, the lacing on your
slip.
glove. Outside, another changeup, 2-1. So Spilly, finish your thought on your old teammate as an infielder.
Pedro Strop is out in the outfield, and like I said, Manny Ramirez is standing next to him, and he's yelling, "Spilly, you saw this guy as a hitter?" And I go, "Yeah, I saw Strop as a hitter. He was terrible." And he goes, "But he can throw, can he, Papi? Huh? This guy can throw." And I was like, yeah, Pedro Strop as a shortstop could throw as hard as I've ever seen an infielder throw.
And he really had a pretty quick rise once he converted.
He's one of the nicer humans you'll be around again. Another guy that takes everything and makes sure he lives every single moment at the baseball field.
Towering fly ball to right. Carr goes out there. Wynn bringing it back toward the infield. 1 out. My favorite line about converted infielders, and this is a former Rocky, another guy that you played with, Spilly, Esmil Rogers. Jeff's laughing because Esmil Rogers said, I hit 300
That's
in my
good.
minor league career. He said 100, 100, 100. And then they converted him.
You know what? Rogers is as athletic as a pitcher you'll ever find. The guy can flag down fly balls. I think Chapman's probably the only one better than him in the outfield as far as flagging down a fly ball.
You know who is really good, and I imagine he's still pretty good, but he's much older. Javi Lopez. Javi Lopez could really track it.
Yes, he could, and I trained with him for 2 years in Denver, and he could beat me in any sort of shuffle race, straight sprint. I mean, the guy was sneaky athletic.
What's that saying?
That I'm not.
Billy, you just can't open yourself up like that. Two 2-0 on Chris Denorfia. Billy, have you found, by the way, our friend from earlier?
I've been looking for him. The guy that painted "Go Cubs Go" on his chest. Yeah, it didn't look very hard.
Sharp ground ball that's going to find its way into left field off of Nolan Arenado. Boy, he's had some balls ripped at him this evening.
A wicked backhand, and now an in-between to his forehand. Playing in because Denorfia might bunt. Go down as an infield single for Chris.
As it should be.
Sure.
One out, one on. Starlin Castro at the plate. 2-run single in the 4th inning. Denorfia can run at first. It's something, Vic, that may surprise about Castro. Since he made his debut in early May of 2010, he has more hits than any other player in the National League, 935. And he's another guy, we talk about it a lot, it's really not completely fair, but there are so many stories out there this time of year. He's another guy that is, quote unquote, rumored to be on the trade block, and one of the reasons is they have Addison Russell, who's at second base, he's a natural shortstop, and Castro has value. I mean, he's a young guy. He got to the big leagues so quickly, Huey, that this is a guy that, you know, he's always everyday player. He's not having a great year offensively this year, but it's not like he's 32 years old and he's on the back end.
Kind of like Aramis Ramirez when he first came out, how young he was. Or Miguel Cabrera, you know, and that 19, 20-year-old kid that comes up and just immediately starts to rake. And he plays a premium position. It has not hit well at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field this year.
Well, you know, it's
197.
He has one home run in the last calendar year at Wrigley Field. The heater at 95 for a strike. It's 1-1.
Chris Coughlin has come out from the dugout to the on-deck circle.
Changeup slow, 2-1. Changeup that's in the zone, 2-2.
The question is, does he throw him another changeup?
We've seen him triple up on it before. Henry goes to the outside corner, and it's a fastball. Big Tommy Huey commands his changeup oftentimes better than the fastball.
At times he tries to overthrow the fastball. And then when you do, your front shoulder will fly open, and that'll pull your head offline.
See if Denorfia is running. He is. That's a fair ball. And Nolan on the move, and it shoots past Carlson. And here comes Denorfia. He's going to score. Throwing error by Arenado, and it's 7-4 Chicago.
There's a straight error on Nolan, 11th of the season. Comes and gets it. He's in a good throwing position, but there was a slight bobble on the transfer. And with Denorfia running on this pitch, he was going to take third after the throw. And then when it got by, he just keeps moving and scores. So there's no RBI on the play. But if we can go back to that play with Nolan, and once he catches it and then tries to go back into his glove for the transfer, you'll see some bobble. And when that happens, it gets off to the end of your fingers and you don't get the right grip. So right there, see how he doesn't have it until it's right at the last moment. Because he's money with those throws from the side. And it just throws you off, and that's what happened to Nolan on that play.
Chris Coughlin's the pinch hitter. Pinch hitting for Grimm. First pitch strike at second base is Starlin Castro, just one out in the home half of the sixth inning.
I saw Chris this winter working out at Bardo's down in Parker.
There's been a number of big league guys move through a great facility in Parker. One ball and one strike on Coughlin. National League Rookie of the Year. Is that where you were going?
That's exactly what I was going to say. You kind of forget about that because right after that he hurt his knee, trying to give a pie in the face to somebody after one of their wins, and had to have knee surgery. It took him a couple years to recover from that.
There's a long list of guys who were Rookie of the Years that never had the kind of career that one would expect from a Rookie of the Year. The Cubs, Jerome Walt.
Giovanni Soto.
Gio Soto, he's had a solid career, but looked like he was going to be a star behind the plate. Turns out maybe his best year was his first year. Inside on Coughlin, 3-2. That's caught by DJ, and they'll double off. Starlin Castro at second. So the Rockies catch a break there. Nice play by LeMahieu in the inning. Denorfia comes around, an unearned run on the rare error by Arenado. right, thanks. The Cubs leading 7-4 here in the top of the 7th inning. Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, Troy Tulowitzki against Pedro Strop.
49 strikeouts, just 21 walks in 43 innings. Pretty good strikeout to walk ratio, and also 158 batting average against.
Hey, guys haven't done much with Strop. Rockies down by 3 runs. They led this affair 4-0 early. Charlie tonight 0 for 2 and a walk. Strop last month turned 30. Cubs the last couple of years only got to the big leagues with Texas. Oh, 2 sliders down.
Oh, went with the quick pitch. Didn't do the windup.
But he missed inside. Pitched in the Rockies organization and became a minor league free agent. Texas signed him. Three and 2. Good years with Baltimore as well. On the ground to short, Castro.
We talk about DJ and what he means to the Rockies, and also coming from the Cubs. Well, Spilly picked something up when they had that little meeting at the mound. I thought this was pretty neat. He's like, yeah, I've got this piece of glove here. This is what they're arguing about. This is what they come out here. We'll take that. He just throws it over to the dugout like, really? That's what this was all about. This little piece of leather.
And when you see things like that, we've passed this along during broadcast, because DJ's a pretty quiet guy. He's a great young man, but he doesn't say a whole lot typically. But you see the fire inside him at certain times, and there it was on display. Yeah, he plays with an edge, and it's not just, obviously, if you watch Rockies broadcast, you know it's not just tonight because he's playing his former club. It's every night. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, and a good one. Had a big night tonight. Walk, single, 2-run single, 2 for 2. There are guys that people in the front office will refer to as big league players, and there are guys that people will refer to in front offices as he's a championship caliber player. That does not mean he's a perennial all-star. It means that you can win a championship with a player like that because of how he plays, how he competes. DJ LeMahieu is a championship caliber player.
And when you're scouting somebody, that's what you would put at the bottom of your comment section.
Strokes got it. There's got to be a lot of space for intangibles when you were filling out reports when you were in the Cubs organization.
Yeah, everything's not just, grade him on 20 to 80. What's he got? What's his projectability? Can he hit? Can he? Sometimes you have to dig deeper than that. You have to find out. You got to talk to people. How big's his heart? Is his heart going to overcome some of the other things that might be short on a list? But that's why you have the comment section. You say, well, he grades out X, Y, and Z, but I think he's going to be better than that, or I think he can help you win. Tulo
trying to snap an 0 for 17. Tonight a fly ball to left and a couple of ground balls, one to third, one to second, and that's ball 2. Looks like it was off the outside corner, but it's called a strike. Cubs did make a move today. Edwin Jackson, who was designated for assignment about 8 days ago, cleared and was officially released today by Chicago. He's still in the middle of a $52 million deal with Chicago.
They just said, okay, we need another arm, and they got Soriano.
Troy pulls this foul. Now
they didn't move at all.
I don't know how smart this game is they play down there in the bullpen. But their little game is you cannot move even if the ball's coming at you. Otherwise, I guess there's some sort of fine. I'm telling you what, if there's a hot shot, guys are going to move.
Like that, if it was coming to my head, I'm going to move. They didn't have to because it went over the top, but I'd rather move, pay the fine.
Back up the middle, diving stop, Addison Russell, and he's going to throw out Tulowitzki.
We'll see that highlight for a while.
Great play by Russell. And for Tulo, he thought he'd gotten himself out of the 0 for 17. Addison Russell steals a base hit from him. Janine West at the ball game. I'm not sure which one's Janine, but looks like you guys are both enjoying the ball game. 7-4, the Cubs leading. Rockies again had a 4-0 lead early. Jorge De La Rosa, 1-2-3 first, 1-2-3 second, 1-2-3 third, and never did get out of the 4th inning. Gave up 6 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Tommy Kahnle's still out there. Addison Russell, who made that fine play a moment ago, takes strike 1. This kid's just 22.
Huey, if you're playing shortstop and this guy just took a hit away from you, how bad do you want the ball hit to?
I want it so bad right now so I can just get him out.
I can see Tulo's pacing at shortstop. That was one of the better plays I've seen a second baseman make. That was incredible.
Well, where he dove and how far he was away from first base, and then to pop up and still make an on-target throw. We talk about range and range finders. I mean, he ends up on the shortstop side of second base, and see how far he slid before he could stop, almost like on a slip and slide where you just keep going and you finally are able to put the brakes on.
Well, and Tulowitzki was yelling right about there. I could hear him from here. I mean, you just know that's not fair.
High fly ball to right. By the way, I made him a year older than he is. He's actually only 21. Pretty good future, huh?
They have some youngsters for sure. Madison Russell being the prime one. He was the #1 prospect of the Oakland A's when they made the trade for Samardzija. They pried him away from Billy Beane.
Madison is a Floridian who hit 37 home runs in his high school career. Top of the order, Dexter's coming up. During the All-Star break, got to go home and see Mom and Dad for a while, John and Trudy. Comes from a wonderful family. It's funny, remember when he came up, I remember when he signed, the Rockies felt they had gotten a steal 14th round pick, and they persuaded him financially to not go on to college. You could have gone to Harvard or the University of Miami. That's what it came down to. Could have gone and played 2 sports actually at Harvard. They wanted him to play basketball also, and Miami wanted him for baseball. And after the trade of Larry Walker, it freed up close to $1 million that the Rockies gave Dexter to sign him. They were right on in their projections because Dexter, the 14th round pick, has become a very, very good major league player now for a while. Lead off, or excuse me, a 1-out walk to Dexter, and that'll bring up Kyle Schwarber.
Star Wars Night is back for the 2015 season on Saturday, August 22nd, with a pregame parade for fans in costume. Purchase the Star Wars ticket package to receive the 2015 limited edition Star Wars Night t-shirt.
Change up for a strike on Schwarber.
Boone Logan is now throwing in the Rockies bullpen.
Schwarber had a 3-hit game in his first big league start a few weeks back.
His first hit at Wrigley Field on Sunday. See, what's so big about that? His first 18 hits were out on the road.
That had never happened before with the Cubs, dating all the way back to 1914. First 18 hits all on the road. Wow, A-Rod hit another home run today on his 40th birthday. 6 times in his career he's hit a birthday bomb. Strike 3 on Schwarber. He's got to go away. Strikeout #1 for Tommy Kahnle. I'll bring up Chris Bryant.
Paint the black. Down and away, catch the corner on the 4th strike zone. It was a strike on Schwarber, as you just turn and just ask the umpire just for confirmation, but no need to confirm it. That was a pitcher's pitch.
Up and in.
It was a late Derwood Merrill used to say, that's a Hall of Fame pitch, kid.
Mike Krukow, our good friend and colleague on the Giants broadcast side, the former Chicago Cub, along with the San Francisco Giant. Ubaldo Jimenez, I think Spilly will remember this. He threw a 100-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball that came back over the outside corner. I forget what right-handed hitter was up, and just froze him naturally. It was Uribe at the plate. And Mike Krukow said that right there was the greatest pitch in the history of baseball.
Baldo could do that.
Yes, he could. Baldo's having a good year this year.
Yes, he is.
In Baltimore. And he's got to be a candidate for comeback player of the year, because last year was not a good year.
They're trying to get rid of him. Trying to move him to the bullpen.
He wasn't on the postseason roster. Baltimore, 2-1. His first outing after the All-Star break, he gave up 7 runs, but prior to that, he had a sub-3 ERA. He was in the top 10 in ERA in the American League. Another comeback player of the year candidates. A-Rod's certainly going to be one. Prince Fielder, the year Prince is having.
Prince would get my vote right now.
Yep, I agree. Well, somebody mentioned this. I was watching MLB Network today. I don't know if it was Matty Vasgersian or who it was. I can't recall, that mentioned that, you know, if you look at the American League right now, Mike Trout's way out in front of everybody as the MVP. But A-Rod's going to garner, if you voted right now, he's going to get some votes. Not #1 votes, but he's going to get top 5 votes with where the Yankees are and what he's done. 3-2 now on Chris Bryant. Hard for a lot of people to stomach, I understand.
Right, some might not vote for him for that reason.
Yeah. And a swing and a miss. Canely strikes out Bryant. In the inning, there was a walk to Dexter. He's left aboard. We'll go to the 8th inning. Rockies need to get going offensively. Cargo will lead it off.
To be the National League reigning Player of the Week, Carlos Gonzalez, and when you see Cargo, a lot of people are wondering, what is he doing different? Is it something with his swing? I'm telling you right now, no. You can see how he's walking to the plate. I noticed it Friday in a game against Cincinnati. He wanted those at-bats. You could see the body language. It brings me back to a day my mom saw me in High A Modesto. I was struggling. She saw me and she goes, you know what? You're not walking to the plate the same way. And I was like, what did I do? She goes, when you walk to the plate, you carry the bat in the barrel and you strut up there. You're not doing that. I said, oh, yeah, you're right. Started carrying the bat the same way, started hitting better. Confidence in how you carry yourself is as important as any sort of mechanical adjustment you make.
And you see it with pitchers out on the hill when they're scuffling. They kind of drop their shoulders. You say, I got this guy.
Well, you can see it with Cargo. Every take he's taking on deck, in the hole, he's ready to go.
Well, in the third inning, he gave the Rockies a 2-0 lead. And he left the building to left center.
It's a 6th home run in his last 5 ball games.
And that ball is smoked to left center field for a base hit. His 3rd hit of the night. The only time the Cubs have gotten him out this evening was when he tried to bunt to the left side and he just didn't move it away from the mound enough.
And you know what's funny is when you start looking at the teammates can see it. It's like I mentioned with my mom. The people that are closest to you, they pick up little things, not just mechanically at the plate. They look at how you walk, how you talk, what you're doing when you make an out, what you do when you get a hit, and eventually your chest starts to puff out. And when you're in that location where Cargo's at, where he's seen the ball big, your body language just changes, and guys know, oh man, Cargo's going to get another hit tonight.
Nolan takes a strike. Cargo, Spilly, now a 6-game hitting streak. He's 13 for his last 25 with 5 jacks and 11 ribbies.
And hitting .276 after that last base hit.
And Anthony Rizzo tried to wipe some of his good stuff off on him.
Did he just do that?
Yep. Tried to take some of it. Typically, you'll see players, and it's almost it's a joke, but you'll see somebody that's on fire, where the opposing player will just wipe whatever's on his sleeve and put it on himself. Like, I want some of that. Give
Why
it to
not?
me.
Nothing wrong with that.
This ball kicks away from David Ross, who's come in behind the plate for Schwarber. And Cargo goes to second. Wild pitch on Hector Rondon.
Another one of those hard throwers coming out of the bullpen.
They've added Soriano. They have some depth down there in that bullpen now.
Almost like we say nightly. I mean, he's a guy that's going to sit at 96, 98 miles an hour.
They have Jason Mott down there.
Same thing.
They've got all kinds of arms. There's Ross. Ross is kind of like Brooks Kieschnick now. He's a two-way guy.
Yeah, comes in. That's the second time this year he's had to come in and pitch relief because they've been getting beat so bad.
Well, Joe Madden went to him in the dugout. This ball's hit pretty well to center field, but a lot of stuff to center field just dies with that wind. 1 out. Well, Joe Madden tapped him on the shoulder yesterday and said, how'd you like to make your home pitching debut? Because his other game was in Milwaukee. So Ross said, no problem, Skip. He goes out there and it didn't look like a knuckleball, but he had a 1-2-3 inning, and then he went deep in the next half inning for his first home run of the year.
And because he was pitching in the last half inning, he became the first reliever in over 5 years to hit a home run. Now, I know he's a catcher, but at the time, he was the pitcher that was out there.
Yeah.
He's got the quarterback wristband. What's he?
Checking the plays.
That always gets me at the youth level. Don't even get me started there.
Dickerson bounces this. That's fielded fair for some reason by Bryant. It's an infield hit for Corey.
Thank you very much, says Corey Dickerson.
I don't know why Chris Bryant fielded that.
Well, I have no idea because you weren't going to be able to throw Corey out. Guy hitting out of the left side of the batter's box. Your momentum's going all the way into the dugout. Your best hope is to let that go, and then you double clutched.
It's huge now because you're bringing the tying run to the plate, Ben Paulson.
Right, so two things. First, you probably should have let it go foul if it was going to. Even if it does, you're not going to have it. The second thing is, once you double clutch, don't throw.
So here's Paulson, first and second. Ben fouls it off. He had the 2 home run game yesterday. One other note on Ross. He's the first player to have a 1-2-3 ninth inning and then a ninth inning home run afterwards since Sid Fernandez with the Mets in 1989. Rockies with 9 hits in the game. 6 came in the first 4 innings.
Remember what happened with Tommy Kahnle and having to go out there with the strings on his glove and you had to cut him off? I play a little gamesmanship now. Because what's the difference between Tommy? I know he's got 5 and Rondon only has 2, but what about the length of it? I play a little gamesmanship here, and I'd say, hey, go out and check this and have him cut his glove too.
Absolutely. David Ross. That's old style. David Ross was unhappy with Rondon's delivery on that pitch. He fired it back harder than Rondon and thrown it to the plate.
Pudge Rodriguez would do that. He'd get mad and he'd just fire it back to the pitcher. The pitcher would catch it and he would say, ow, stop that. But that'd say, come on now. Ben's got to like that, get him rattled.
Fouled off at 97. It remains 2-2. Well, Ross has got a sporadic as it may be, his appearances. He's perfect on the year.
Maybe he thinks he's in the pitching fraternity as well as the catching fraternity.
Perhaps. Second out. And that'll bring up Mike McHenry with 2 in scoring position. McHenry a strikeout, a single, and a run scored in the 4th, and a fly ball to right. Crowd of 35,070 at Wrigley Field tonight. Hardest things, you went through this at different periods in your career, one of the hardest things for a bench player is to keep your timing offensively when you're not getting regular at bats.
And you're dealing with an injury or something that's going on with your legs like Michael. So you can't, I mean, it is hard to do it that way, but then when you have to cut back on your reps in between because you're nursing a slight injury, put those two things together, it just doesn't add up to a very good 10 days.
Chase there, and it's 1-2. McHenry, 10 days between starts behind the plate for the second time this year. The other time it happened was when the Rockies went through that slew of rainouts and delays. He actually went 10 days between officially putting the gear on in a game.
At least that makes you feel like everybody's in the same boat with the rainouts.
Rockies have runners at second and third. They trail by 3 runs. A 1-2 count on Mike McHenry. Card goes at third, Dickerson at second. Bullpen area, and the catch is made right in front of the wall by Jorge Soler to end the inning. The Rockies got a couple hits. They leave 2 men on. Middle of 8, 7-4 Cubs. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price in sales and service guaranteed. And by Saratoga Casino, so new, so you. Michigan Avenue in the bustling city of Chicago. Monday night, things started well for the Rockies. They turned south in the 4th inning. Rockies were up 4-0. Jorge De La Rosa gave up 6 runs in the 4th after being perfect through the first 3. In fact, the Cubs have 6 hits in the game. 5 came in the 4th inning. Just 1 hit outside of that 4th inning. It came in the 6th inning. Chris Denorfia, and he would score eventually on a throwing error by Nolan Arenado. Anthony Rizzo in the 8th inning against Rafael Betancourt. And the first pitch is popped up. Shallow center. Charlie Blackmon will make the play. 1 pitch, 1 out. 3 straight ball games for Rafael.
And that helps when you get that first pitch out. You're hoping for Rafi that he can throw less than 10 pitches this inning with the work that you referenced. Not that he's throwing a lot of pitches. 18 yesterday, 12 the day before, but it's also the warming up, the throwing down in the bullpen to get ready. Because 3 days in a row for Rafi, might be down tomorrow. Canley's going to be down tomorrow after throwing 37 pitches today. That's where it hurts with what Jorge did and putting so much strain on the bullpen when you're going to go with the bullpen guy tomorrow and Johan Flande.
Solaire's 1 for 3. Good looking pitch. Slider missed. Catch made by Nolan Arenado. What a grab by Nolan. 2 outs.
He's had some difficult plays tonight. Balls hit to his left and to his right. He had the unfortunate throwing error to first base. That's not going to deter him from laying out on this ball. Catching the line drive off the bat of Jorge. First quick step, take 2 or 3 strides, and then lay out.
Denorfia has driven in a run with a ground out in the 4th inning and also scored a run.
Follow the Rockies with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live Rockies baseball. At bat is up to the minute with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, StatCasts, and more. Get MLB.com at bat now.
Ball and 2 strikes. In the 9th inning, the Rockies will have 9-1-2. That's going to be a base hit. Pinch hitter and then Blackman and LeMahieu. With every challenge call, the Subaru Eyesight Review will determine the outcome. Love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Came into the ball game 18-27 on the road after a 6-0 start. Begin the season out on the road. This is sharply hit. Tulo can't get there. And Starlin Castro has his 2nd hit of the night.
The last 2 hits, the one by Denorfia and this one by Starlin, just the seeing eye variety up the middle. One to the right of DJ, this to the left of Tulo.
Here's the Bean, Johnny Herrera. See Johnny today. Johnny has a distinction. He's one of those guys who played for both the Red Sox and the Cubs, 2 oldest parks in baseball. Be able to call home. Johnny enjoyed his time in Boston. He said he's really enjoying playing for Joe Madden and being in Chicago. Got to hook up with One of his best friends in the world before the ball game, Carlos Gonzalez. Those guys known each other since they were 5. Pick play.
Slow developing on the pick play. Well, but for Jonathan Herrera, signed as a minor league free agent, or minor league contract, I should say. After electing, the Red Sox didn't re-sign him back in November. Closing in on 5 years in the major leagues.
Yeah, good for him. Talking to Madden about him, and everybody who's around Johnny loves Johnny. He goes, Johnny, be good.
Johnny told me today he wants to get more years in baseball than Renee Latchman. Everyone believes him too. We're like, you already don't have 68 years in the major leagues.
Billy, you had a lot of teammates, a lot of great teammates. Talk a little bit about Johnny Herrera, because for a guy that, you know, is typically the 24th, 25th guy, he may be the most popular 24th, 25th guy in the game.
No doubt. He can't bunt, he can't run, and somehow he just finds a way to just warm your heart and win games. It's great. We love him. How can you not love a guy like Johnny Herrera?
Professional ball catcher.
He is.
No, that was what Jim Tracy called it.
985 fielding percentage when he played for Colorado. Second base, shortstop, third base. Also played some left field. 375 ball games in pinstripes.
2-0 on Herrera, and that's a strike. So Johnny, remember they used to give him such a hard time because Johnny went like months without hitting a ball out in batting practice. And he finally did. He almost brought down the stadium with how guys were celebrating. I said, if you hit one out this year, he goes, every day now. He goes, I'm getting my man strength.
Just remember that game down in Miami where he made an error late in the ball game. They tied it up, and then he went opposite field to right field, hitting right-handed in old Joe Robbie, Land Shark, whatever it was called at that time.
Hit it out.
Hit it out.
Tried not to smile going around the bases,
he tried,
too.
But it was a sight to behold.
3-1 on the bean. And it's in the air to left field. Corey's out there. That'll end the inning. So the Rockies need a significant top of the ninth. They trail 7-4 in Chicago. Inning, and we'll tell you about the Rockies pinch hitter in a moment, but let's check our CenturyLink link to what's next. Here's the Rockies schedule, the remainder of July into August. From Chicago, the Rockies will travel to St. Louis. They'll play 4 against the Cardinals, home for 3 against Seattle, right back on the road, Washington and New York, before they return home in mid-August to take on the Padres. So the Rockies will go to Daniel Descalso here to lead things off in the 9th inning, pinch hitting, and then it's Blackmon, LeMahieu, beyond that Tulowitzki, Cargo, Arenado. Jason Mott missed all of 2013 with an injury. One of several veterans they have in the bullpen for Chicago. 6 different relievers have produced a save this year for Joe Maddon's club.
I just saw one on Hector Rondon. He had 12. Soriano or Strop had a couple. Mott has 6.
Travis Wood has a save.
Yeah, Justin Grimm has a save. 2 saves.
It's way outside. 2-1.
But Mott since June 7th in 19 ball games, he's 6 for 7 in saves, 5-0 with the 1.47 ERA.
They're going to get Soriano up just in case. They didn't like that fastball that missed by 3 feet, I guess. Pop foul, and it'll get out of play. 2-2. Who wants tacos? Fans follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more in a game. Mott led the National League in saves in 2012 with 42 when hurling for the Cardinals. Teammates of Daniel Descalso at that time.
Because they were teammates for a while in St. Louis, he's never faced him before.
It remains 2-2. Rockies had 2 men on in the 8th inning with 1 out. Fortunately couldn't produce a hit to carve into the 3-run deficit. Everything up in the zone pretty much from Mott.
Battle going on.
And it's a nice job by Descalso. Pretty good pitch there. The guy closing the games now for the Cardinals is Trevor Rosenthal, and he picked off his 31st save tonight as the Cardinals beat Cincinnati 4-1.
How many wins is that now for the Cards?
They are now 29 games north of 500 at 64 and 35.
Without their #1 starter.
Lance Lynn has stepped up. Lance is 8-5 with a 271.
Win this battle, Daniel.
Two. This ball is lathered to deep right center field by Descalso. It's gone. That's a good start.
And that's how you win the battle.
That is really winning the battle. Lead-off home run, Descalso against his former teammate, Jason Mott.
I will say the longer that battle goes on between a pitcher and a hitter, advantage hitter. You start feeling invincible at the plate. He has nothing to get me out. And how about that? Right down Broadway. And he turns on it. caught up to that fastball and then kept it low enough so the wind didn't affect it. Over that first row of seats in right center field.
Here's Blackman, and he takes a strike. Now it's a 2-run game, 7-5. It's the first career pinch hit home run for Descalso.
They have double-barreled action in the Cubs pen. Of Soriano, and also James Russell is up throwing again, the left-hander.
Soriano just was signed not that long ago, minor league deal. Russell's for cargo, you got to imagine.
Yes, because that's what he is. He's a lefty specialist down in the pen.
Two. This is turned on by Charlie. It may die. It will. In front of Soler. So now the tying run coming to the plate, DJ LeMahieu. How long will Joe Madden wait?
First he's going to send out Chris Bosio, the pitching coach.
Told him, Chris, walk, don't jog.
Take it easy, but a little cut fastball, maybe a baby slider onto the hands of Charlie. Fights it off strong enough to dump it into right field.
LeMahieu's had a terrific night. He walked in the first. In the third inning, he had a base hit up the middle to extend his hitting streak to 17 games, and then a 2-run single in his next at bat. 2 for 3 tonight in the walk. '18th Rockies hitting streak of 17 games or longer. But 3 guys have 17-plus game hitting streaks this year. Arenado, DJ, and of course Tulowitzki's 21-gamer.
I was going to say also 41 RBIs now for DJ.
He's had 5 players above 40 ribbies. 2-strike count, nobody out.
For DJ, he had a 42 all of last year.
Good eye, 2-2. Fouled over the roof.
Mott has. He's not really fooling anybody. And even a 96-mile-an-hour fastball with fouling off. Again, another one over the roof. Well, it's not coming back.
Tulowitzki on deck. 7-5 Cubs.
Good eye. Now the question is, do you start the runner? Try to stay out of the double play. I think he might with the high leg kick from Jason Mott.
Charlie goes, and it's in the air to deep right field. Soler going back, still going back, can't get it. Over his head, off the ivy. Blackman will get a stop sign at third. The tying run at second, doubled by LeMahieu. Nobody out in the ninth inning. DJ once again burning his former team.
And I don't think Soler thought that he could hit that ball that far over his head. And you also have the unusual way that wall juts back where he had to go try to catch that. That'll be it for Jason Mott. Off with the pitch. Watch Soler go back. He starts to wonder, where am I in relation to the wall?
He didn't look comfortable at any point going back there.
And this is his home ballpark.
A run in, second and third, nobody out. Mott's out of there. So Jason Mott didn't get anybody out. The long at bat with Descalso, won by Daniel with a home run. And then a Blackman single, a LeMahieu lengthy at bat, a double to right. Second and third, nobody out, and they turn it over to Rafael Soriano, who had 32 saves last year with Washington and then was out of work until June. This is just his fourth appearance at the big league level with the Cubs. Tulowitzki fouls off that first pitch.
Kind of unusual that a guy that would go 4-1 with 32 saves have an ERA over 3 and has closed before, because he had 45 saves with Tampa Bay in 2010, would be out of work for that long, but then signed here, and they kind of had a deal worked out. Get your arm in shape and then we'll call you up, and that's what they've done. Now he's in a pretty big pickle with guys at second and third, nobody out.
93 on that fastball. One of the things that it was said that hurt Soriano in finding a new club in the offseason is that he faded down the stretch. As you said, it's still a guy that had a 3 ERA and 32 saves last year.
And 207 career saves.
And even if you didn't want him in the ninth inning anymore, you think somebody would want him in a setup role. But here he is right now. Tulowitzki trying to snap an 0 for 19. Down 2 strikes. And Troy reaches up and fouls off a pitch that's shoulder high. Troy robbed of a hit his last time up by Addison Russell, and one of the great plays you'll see a second baseman make. All out dive up the middle, and then he fired to first to get Tulowitzki.
This means he's due for a little blue pit to score a couple runs. Broken bat.
Question also will be, will they piecemeal this ninth with Cargo on deck? This is slowly hit to third. It's a fair ball. A run scores. Now DJ to third. Heads up base running by DJ. Tulowitzki's out. So there's 1 out. And LeMahieu 90 feet from tying it up with perhaps the hottest hitter in baseball coming up. Now, how do you play it if you're Joe Madden?
How do you want to play it? Because you got the guy that's leading the league in RBIs behind him. But for DJ at second base, I mean, he's in a good position because everything's in front of him. He keeps his feet moving. See how he had already started to move to third base when he released the ball. Just watch DJ for a moment. As soon as he lets go of the ball, he takes off.
Boy, this is interesting. They have 3 on the right side against Cargo. Infield in, trying to protect that 1-run lead. There's 1 out, and they're going to pitch to him. And I say, well, you can't put the go-ahead run on. Sometimes you do the unconventional. Joe Madden's not afraid of the unconventional.
No, he's done it before.
That's a strike. They're playing with fire right now. Cargo 3 hits tonight. Yesterday, 2 home runs. He drove in 6. He has another home run tonight if you're just joining us. This ball tatered to deep right, way back, gone. Rockies take the lead. They played with fire and they got fried. 8-7 Colorado. A bullet out to right. Second home run of the night for Cargo. His 6th in the last 4 days.
And that's his 3rd 2-home run game in the last 4 or 5 games. He had one yesterday, another one today.
It's what we said earlier. There are few guys legitimately in the game that can carry a team, literally, for a number of days.
Hop on my back, because it's pretty strong right now.
I watched the guys in the dugout after he hit the baseball, and they're looking at each other dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that, number one, that they pitched to him, and
right.
Number 2, that he hit another home run. Guys are looking at each other. Are you serious? That just happened?
And Spilly, what I like best about that is when he was getting towards first base and really the coach's box, he had already pointed into the dugout, says, hey, how about that, guys?
How beautiful was this? And there was no doubt. You'd hang laundry on this for a mile.
He goes down inside and hits that slider and then just drops the bat a la Cargo style.
Arenado back live, strikes out, 2 outs in the 9th inning. John Axford cranking it up in the Rockies bullpen.
This is worthy of a 4th or 5th look from Cargo in this home run. And he knew it. Just watch as he gets up into that party deck area in right field. Yeah. And that's 2 tonight, fellas.
What were we talking about the other day also about Cargo? It's not just, he's never been a guy that just hits a home run when you're down by 8 or up by 8. He hits typically really meaningful big flies.
Almost half of his home runs have come when they're either down by a run, even, or up by a run. There's a pretty good tweet just a moment ago from MLB. Why stop at Player of the Week honors for last? What, just carried on this week.
Send him the trophy for next week. Ridiculous. And you played here. When it juts out down that right field line, there's no cheapies down the line.
No, it's a poke, and then to get it up as high as he did. But you know what? We're talking about Cardinals. Let's for a moment, though, go back to the at-bat that Daniel Descalso had, pinch hitting to lead off this inning when he hits a home run. I mean, it's been a total inning as a team.
It's off Dickerson's bat, a foul ball. Addison Russell, Dexter Fowler, David Ross in the ninth inning, bottom half for Chicago. Again, John Axford will be looking to nail it down. The Rockies with a 4-run ninth inning.
This has been a wild and wacky game. The way it started out, Orioles just dominating. It gives up 6 runs in 1 inning. Then you come back and you score 4 here in the bottom, and you're not done yet.
This ball on the ground is second. Russell has it. What a turnaround. The Rockies with a 4-run ninth inning. Daniel Descalso, he had his first pinch home run of his career against his former teammate. They elect to pitch to Cargo. Bad idea. Good for the Rockies. Home run from Carlos Gonzalez has given the Rockies an 8-7 lead, bottom of the ninth at Wrigley. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. You know what it is. Fastball down and in, and Cargo lathered it. Home run number 2 of the night, number 20 on the season. His third multi-home run game in the last 4 days. John Axford will be asked to close it out. The Rockies have made a couple of changes. One not a surprise, one a surprise. First of all, in left field, Barnes comes in for Dickerson. That's not a surprise. For whatever reason, Daniel Descalso is staying in the game for Troy Tulowitzki. So you only surmise that something's not 100% right now for Tulo.
Yeah, let's just hope there wasn't anything that was thrown out of whack on that close play at first base where you had Rizzo reaching back and Troy trying to get out of the way. But in any event, it's going to be up to John Axford to lock this ball game down. He has to do it. He's scuffled the last 2 or 3 times out there, and it's because he's been falling behind the first batter and letting that guy get on base, and then that just kind of snowballs into a bad inning. So get this leadoff guy.
Last time he pitched on Friday, he ended up getting the win, but he gave up a run. This ball's in the air to center field. It's playable. And Russell, who has a lot of pop, is retired. And that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Dexter, you know, can work a count. He's been on base twice tonight via walks.
Dexter, 8 out of his 9 home runs have come hitting left-handed. Remember all those home runs he hit. He hit one in Colorado on that Sunday. 2 out in the 9th inning. Stay away from down and in to Dexter. Pitch him away and pitch him up.
Down and really in. There's a strike, 1-1. Good breaking ball. He went 1-2.
He's flat out guessing on a fastball. Pretty easy to call that one.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball. Oh, man,
goodness.
Ring him up. Where is that? John Axford can only smile. That was a strike. Right at the bottom of the zone.
And McHenry didn't come up. He didn't block the view of the umpire. He just missed it.
Breaking ball left up, and it dived by LeMahieu, and he can't get it. So it's a 1-out single for Fowler. And now you have to deal with his speed as well. Paulson started to go after it. Ben's got a lot of experience. His natural position is first, and then went to the bag. You're so used to DJ making those plays in the hole, but it was a step too far for DJ.
Ben should have kept going unless he was called off from DJ. I don't think he was. And then slipped as he's going back. You get closer to that ball, and then you wait to hear what the second baseman has to say.
David Ross, first at bat. First homer of the season last night. Double play candidate. This ball's hit well to center field. Blackman got a good jump. He'll get there. 2 outs. And now the crowd will stand because their new favorite son is coming up, Chris Bryant.
Reminder again of where you want to pitch him. You want to pitch him down, and you want to pitch him with soft stuff.
So here we go. 2 outs, 1 on. Rockies up 8-7. Axford against Bryant. The young phenom takes a breaking ball down, ball 1. 13 home runs. Club leading 56 RBIs for Chris Bryant.
Pretty high whiff percentage, 36.5%.
He strikes out nearly a third of the time. Axford doesn't care how. He just needs to get this third out. Right up the middle. Here's the 1-0. High fly ball, deep left center field. Oh man, I can't believe it.
Stunner.
Two-run walk-off home run, Chris Bryant. After the Rockies with an improbable 4-run rally in the ninth. And it ruins the heroics of Carlos Gonzalez. It was a breaking ball, a flat breaking ball, and he didn't miss it.
No, he didn't. That backed up on Axford. They wanted it down and in, or down and away, and it ends up middle in. First career walk-off hit, home run of Chris Bryant's career.
Crazy night. The Rockies blew a 4-0 lead early. They had nothing going for most of the rest of the game, down 7-4 in the ninth. They come up with a 4 spot at Wrigley, and unfortunately they cannot get the 27th out, and they fall 9-8. 9-8 the final. Soriano gets the victory. Axford takes the loss. And again, as Jeff said, the first career walk-off hit for Chris Bryant, a 2-run walk-off home run. To our Denver studios, Jenny Cavnar, take it away.